Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad. It's episode 74 for March 21st, 2018. I am Clyde. I'm joined today by Michael Aston.
Hello everybody.
Jimmy Trammell.
Hello guys.
And Matthew Ross.
Greetings.
How are you guys?
Good. It's been a good day.
Good.
Yeah, not too bad for me either, really. Yeah, the week's going well.
Rock on. It's been kind of a surreal week for me, being the last couple days of work before moving on to something new and exciting and hopefully better. But
let me guess, CIA.
You're retiring?
Well, I
FBI?
could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
No. Okay. So that's a funny, just a tiny little funny story. I have my uncle. He's a colonel in the Air Force. Well, he was. He retired. And my dad. When he got colonel, my dad asked him, "Hey, what's the difference between being lieutenant colonel and colonel?" He says, "Oh, it's pretty simple. When I was lieutenant colonel, there were things that if I told you, I'd have to kill you, and now that I'm colonel, there are things that I could tell you, and I'd have to get you killed." So, the difference.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, so
it gets rid of the hands-on work kind of goes away at that point. You kind of just mitigate everything.
I just turned on this light and I don't know if it was a good idea or not, but
right.
You know what? I'm gonna roll with it. It's like,
awesome.
Hello, hi. Too much lights. Not now.
No. You want to turn it off? No. Turn it off.
You're in the heaven room now.
Yeah, you look like you've ascended with the angels.
As long as I didn't, ascend into the shark, but I don't know if you guys can see that with the screen that small.
Shark. It does look like a shark.
It is a shark.
Like Jaws, like the Jaws, the logo.
Yep,
that's cool.
It's a shark. You can't see it's wearing disguise glasses up at the top, like the fake nose and the glasses.
The Groucho glasses. Yeah.
Totally. It's not a shark. Yeah. No, it's fine. All right. Hey, why don't we get into it? We got a lot to talk about this week, so.
Oh my goodness, just a couple of stories this week. Let's start with Facebook. Facebook is providing a gaming streaming service, their live streaming stuff that they've been trying to push for a little while, and now they've started to offer a new API that allows the developers of video games to make a simple one-click button in order for you to stream your video directly to Facebook with very little trouble for the end user, and also is offering spectator in-game rewards for the users watching. So they're trying to get really into the streaming game, gaming game, the game streaming game. Yeah.
Now,
yes.
Yeah. I'm not a gamer, but do you think somebody who is a gamer would they go to Facebook to play games? Do you think?
So here's the thing. This is actually pretty compelling when you start to look at this. It offers the functionality for game manufacturers to integrate some of the functionality directly into the game, which alleviates the game player or the streamer from having to buy a bunch of extra hardware or software or anything. They can just go into the game setting and say switch on streaming, and then it will link up to their Facebook account, which they would have obviously already registered, and be able to stream it live through their Facebook account. It just simplifies things and makes it easier than even doing it with like Twitch or something like that. So that's a really big deal, I think, because there's a lot of people that would love to stream their games, but that don't have the technical know-how or the money to buy the equipment and software and stuff like that necessary to do it effectively. So this could be a really good thing and give them a really significant leg up, which they really need, because Twitch already has a very dominant force, and then YouTube stands pretty solidly as well with game streamers. So
I mean, look at this. If you look at it this way, Facebook is now the place where your grandma keeps tabs on you. It's now the place where your grandma can stream.
Yeah. No, it's worse than that. Now, if you click that button and you're playing Grand Theft Auto or some other really graphic game, and then your grandma gets a notification on her phone, says, "Oh, look, little Johnny is playing Grand Theft Auto. I'll click here and watch with him right in my Facebook." Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
You really want that? I don't know if you really want that. That doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a really good point, especially since YouTube or Facebook has the policy that you can't have multiple accounts and you can't have non-named accounts and stuff like that. So you couldn't create a special account for your gaming stuff, at least in theory, right? You're not supposed to create your special gaming account. So yeah, you would be advertising anything you do there to all of your friends and family, which some I'm sure you want to, but others, you're right. It's probably a pretty interesting perspective, one that I hadn't thought of. So
yeah, it's a cool idea, and Facebook really wants to get into the game, and they're watching Twitch and YouTube gaming, and even Mixer and all these other people are kind of trying to do this. So it makes sense that Facebook, just like Amazon wants to take over the world, they'd get into it too.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook's been kind of trying to get in on anything they can get in on. They haven't been cutting edge since they kind of copied MySpace, and they want to regain those glory days. So, I don't know. Rock on. More options. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Hey, this is a good story for people who like open source and people who like WebOS. I'm guessing, Michael, you're really interested in this. LG has just decided that they're going to open source again WebOS, the code that they've been working on for mostly their televisions, so that they can be used for other devices and things that they don't necessarily can think of. Basically, it was already open source before, and they're backed by HP with a long time ago. But LG since then has been taking it and modifying it, and the license apparently did not require them to keep their other sources still open. But now they're opening it up again, and it looks like that they're going to be trying to get everybody to jump into this new platform.
So are they open sourcing the same thing that was already open sourced, or are they open sourcing a new fork?
They're essentially open sourcing a continuation of the old one, a new fork of it, because they released it open source, but the license said we can keep working on it without sharing the source. So
yeah, and
I don't know what
they've made significant improvements since then. So that was quite a while ago, and there have been significant improvements since that previous open source edition. So this is a good move, I think.
I'm not certain which license they're opening source with. I'm trying to look that up right now.
So LG says fork it.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it sounds like an IoT play. To me, is kind of what it sounds like. But
I mean, that's the future.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, would some other manufacturer want to use their operating system to connect their device that they're manufacturing? I mean, would Samsung want to use this? I mean, probably not.
Well, Samsung, they've been trying to get away from Android.
Sure.
And I don't know how well Bixby's going to be, but or Tizen or whatever. But I mean, you say, is anybody going to want to use it? That's what everybody said when Google kind of open sourced Android. Well, is anybody going to want to use this? And that's kind of become the go-to. So. Yeah.
I think that when it comes to something like this, really what determines whether or not it succeeds is just the quality of the system, right? If it provides a significant value above the other options, or provides a cheaper solution. So if it's a comparable quality but the free solution, that's why Android did so well, I think, is because it provided a very high quality experience comparable to Apple's phone OS and BlackBerry's OS. And at the same time, it was you could make them because you couldn't make Apple phones with Apple OS, and BlackBerry also kept their operating system proprietary to their own phones. So it gave you a new solution. You didn't have to build it from scratch like what previously was being done, and it was high quality. So it allowed you to compete as a device manufacturer with the top tier devices without having to spend a lot of money and resources to create an operating system to run it. LG's WebOS that they're using is a really good smart TV operating system, in my opinion. Having used a number of different devices and phones and TVs, I feel like this is definitely amongst the top, if not the best, smart TV operating system. I really, really like it. And so I think that if by open sourcing it, they're going to open up a lot of opportunity for companies that are making TVs. So you've got like the Roku operating system on TCL and stuff like that, or whatever it is, and this is a viable alternative for those companies.
I think it's TCL that's got a Roku version and an Android version of their TVs.
And
they're going to come out
version.
A YouTube version.
Yep.
Of their TV. But that's just the Android version, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
There was like a YouTube OS besides CES. I think it was TCL.
So are they going to come out with another line that's going to be using WebOS? Who knows? And will that sell well? Maybe it will.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, as an avid LG user, they do Android. They've been doing Android for a long time, and they do Android very well. And this actually confuses me a little bit because for as much as they tout their Android phones and connectivity between devices, I don't know why they would fracture their user base, I guess you could say. So, wouldn't you want to put Android on these devices to tap into your existing Android user base? You say, hey, that Android V30 that you got right here, it is gonna work with your phone, and will work with your ice maker and work with your back massager.
I mean, if they just wanted to hook into Google, I can see that, right? But I don't know. The more I think about this, what I think is going to happen. I mean, you got the IoT play that's there, but I think probably what they're going to drive for, they make the OS. They're going to do exactly like what Google did. I think they're going to make the OS open source, and then what will come next will be an app store, right, to go along with it, and they're going to build an ecosystem. I think that's what they're looking to do.
I have a conspiracy theory, but it's not that big a conspiracy, but a more pessimistic view. This also could be, and I don't think it is, but it could be LG saying, screw it, we're done, open source it, we're just going to go do something else. Could be. But that's a valid point. It could be them saying we're done. We're just not going to work on it anymore. Open source it, let people have it. I doubt that's what's actually happened.
Well, it could be a little bit of both, right? I mean, if they open source it and other companies adopt and users start to work on it, it may alleviate some of the effort of innovation in this operating system for them. So by spreading it out a little bit, getting other companies involved, they may have to spend less money and resources to keep the operating system up to date, to provide new features, and to keep it current, and at the same time secure, without them having to be the only people putting the money into keeping it running and up and solid. And that's a really good point. I agree the idea that they do have the LG store built into the WebOS, and that includes apps and software and media and stuff like that. So that gives them a obvious revenue source, whether it be apps that they've created and stuff like that, or if they maybe part of the licenses that has to stay in there or something like that. Or maybe they've just built it so that it's kind of integral, kind of like the Play Store, right? So it makes sense. Like, open source it, get companies using it so they can get some of that revenue from the store and potentially alleviate some of the efforts on their part.
Right.
And it's a good operating system, so I kind of like it.
Bring back a WebOS tablets. Okay, sorry. Done.
Yep.
We have a story about YouTube Kids. You know, that nice and friendly app that allows your kids to watch YouTube videos and with no worry. There's not going to be anything bad on there. Nothing that's really not true. Nothing that's going to, teach your kids things that are, absolutely false. Like, that kind of stuff. It's going to be all educational.
You're leading me to think that there might be a downside.
Well, there's a problem about YouTube Kids is that it's kind of... it uses an algorithm to figure out what's supposed to be good for the kids and what's not. And if it's an algorithm, we all know people game the algorithms.
No,
and
never. That does not ever happen.
It's true. Sorry, it's just true. It's life and how it goes. And so now YouTube Kids just, found about 25 videos. Basically, Business Insider did a little search and found some information. Like, I don't know, the fact that there's searches for moon landing came up with videos that said it was a hoax. And things like a conspiracy theorist saying, that the world is ruled by lizard people.
Okay, so I don't get what the problem is.
You're missing that these are the reptile-human hybrids that live under the earth. That's why we don't see them on a regular basis.
Well, when we do see them, they have lady faces on running for president, but that's about it.
And not only that, but Captain Kirk actually defeated one of those guys. I saw it on television.
So
and don't forget that it actually teaches the truth about the President Kennedy assassination, that the CIA had that happen. So I think that it's actually really, really good. I mean, one of their goals is to teach the children, provide a learning environment. So they are doing exactly that.
One question I have, though, is that Ron White? Why is Ron White giving a talk about YouTube Kids app?
That is a gentleman named David Ickel, I think, or Icky, or Ick. Ike? It could be Ike, David Ike.
David
Yeah. He's the conspiracy theorist about the reptile-human hybrids.
Well,
which apparently you guys know to be fact. So,
well, yeah.
Have you not watched the videos that you're talking about?
I haven't watched the videos.
Explains it very clearly.
They even talk about it on Doctor Who. There was a couple major episodes where he went down to their lair. They typically, the problem is they're the ruling class.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's actually interesting to me. I've heard tell of a lot of these theories, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so I don't actually know much in the way of details, just beyond what I get cursory conversations. But I'm honestly really interested and want to go watch these videos now just to see what was there. My daughters. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but it's back to the story just a little bit. It shouldn't be on YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
This should be on YouTube Teen, okay? I don't know.
Well, I mean, as long as there's not anything that's profane or kind of sensitive to children, then I don't see a problem.
There are plenty of people who do.
It's not something that they're going to seek out, if they're not actually interested. And I know, like, my daughters that are 10 to 12 range, not quite example, teen,
Imagine there's one searches for UFO.
Yeah.
and then you get all kinds of these videos about UFOs, and not the kind of this could be true or here's the kind of information as people who actually are totally, completely, absolutely telling you that it's absolutely true, even though we don't know.
Well, they even have the radio show Coast to Coast with Art Bell.
Oh, my kids have been listening to that since they were like literally infants in the car. Yeah.
Yeah. So my daughters watch YouTube Kids, both of them, my 5 and 10-year-old. And I do kind of keep an eye on what they watch. We don't let them like take the tablets into their bedroom and close the door and watch, so that we kind of are aware of what they're seeing, because it definitely is. It is generally well curated, but it is not fully curated. Not every video is watched. It is predominantly algorithm based. So you do get videos that are somewhat inappropriate. I haven't seen anything that I found to be truly offensive, though I have heard reports of stuff getting in there that was like legitimately offensive and profane.
Early on, it was bad.
Yeah, but this kind of skates the line. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with my 10-year-old watching this, though I would want to be aware of it so we could talk about the reality of it and how this is an interesting thought that some people have, and here's why they believe these things, and this is the reality of it. And I mean, I find this kind of stuff fascinating to watch. Like, History Channel's always showing it. I love that the History Channel always shows the history of aliens coming to Earth and stuff. And it's very interesting and enjoyable to watch, but it's, you watch it as entertainment, or at least I do. And sure. I see this as the same kind of thing that I think my 10-year-old daughter would enjoy watching this as entertainment, assuming that it's not profane or vulgar or anything. And, be fun discussions to have and stimulate the creativity and the imagination a little bit. So,
yeah. Oh, I'm well convinced that you could have a subscription service and play nothing but aliens, sharks, and Nazis on it, and you'd do really well with it.
I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't seem like it would make sense at all.
What the History Channel is?
You mean the Discovery Channel, right?
Wait, are you talking about that new show, The Alien Shark Nazis?
It's going to be on movie night next week.
Maybe.
If you can find that.
If you can find the Alien Shark Nazi movie, then I will definitely change whatever we were going to watch.
Alien Shark Nazis versus the Pirate Ninja Skeletons.
The Pirate Ninja
Undead. Pirate Ninja Undead.
Okay.
Zombie. I would go to the theater to watch that movie.
So yeah, good advice for everybody. Watch what your kids are watching. Talk to them about it. All right.
And if your kids are watching this stuff, give them a big high five from me.
High five.
Okay. Real quick story about Netflix. Netflix has launched a public bounty program for finding bugs in their software. Basically, if you could find something that they identify as a critical vulnerability, probably something that is either really easy to steal stuff or find other people's information or something like that, they'll be happy to offer you a reward of $15,000. Now, notably, this is a lot less than other bug bounties that have been recently coming up, especially Microsoft and Intel have recently announced a $250,000 bug bounty that can be found to take care of the recent processor bugs. But it's not bad for a company that all it's doing is streaming you videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could this be a way to finance the OLED TVs for the VOD Squad Day?
There we go.
Yeah, okay, everybody, dig in and let's find some bugs so we can get some TVs. Whenever I see these, the gears start turning in my head. I'm a programmer. I can find some bugs, but the reality is it's a ton of work and you spend a lot of effort and time trying to find something and somebody probably beats you to it. But that's why Samsung and Microsoft's bug bounties are so high, right? 200,000, 250,000. But there's also the issue of what's the risk, right? So with them, the risk is, oh, Windows has a security vulnerability, and now I can hack into any corporate computer practically in the world and steal corporate data. Microsoft, if they find out that there's a bug like that, and they could potentially have liability and vulnerability issues, and they definitely have a huge value reputation hit every time that kind of thing happens. So they are going to be really hard on that, and they've got real incentive to provide significant returns. Plus the difficulty, right? I mean, the difficulty of finding a bug in an operating system is different than a web platform and stuff. At least that's my opinion.
Yep, I think you're spot on there, Mike.
All right, we're going to move on to another interesting story. Netflix today announced that they've made themselves a new custom typeface, aka a font for everybody else. They paid a decent amount. I don't know how much they paid for it, but they paid a developer named Dalton Mogg. Apparently, he's a big name in the typeface world. But it's a pretty nice looking font called Netflix Sans. And apparently, the reason why they did this is because, believe it or not, they've been having to pay to use their old font, and it's been costing them lots of money.
Fonts are insanely expensive, and the rules and regulations around using fonts is insane. It totally makes sense. If you've got a brand and you've got a big business that's very successful, get your own font. Why not?
All I know is... Oh, you know what? I think I was looking at the wrong article. Never mind. But yeah, fonts be whack, yo.
It's possible I clicked on the wrong font. Yes, I clicked the wrong video. I skipped one.
There is a book that is basically about fonts, and the I wish I could remember the name of it, but it is absolutely amazing. And it's about basically a company that is like running conspiracies around the world and stuff like that, and super rich and stuff. It's fascinating. I'll have to get that before we get to
the one thing about this, and maybe this is just me, but it's called Netflix Sans. Mm-hmm. And anytime I see Sans, my brain automatically adds pants. So when I see that, I see Netflix Sans Pants.
No.
Maybe that's a show title.
That might be. So to educate the world, the word sans means without, yes. And serif is what's supposed to be right after. So whatever sans serif means that it is without serifs. And serifs
Yes.
are those little things in the end of old words, the little end to make it quite clear where the letter ends, kind of triangles or other little doodads they put in there. And so
actually, so the serifs are, in theory they make it easier to read by helping the eye flow from word to word. Mm-hmm. So that's why they have those little tails and stuff going onto the next thing, the serifs. So,
right.
And it's Mr. Penumbra's bookstore. So, talking about fonts, you got to read it. It's about like the secret society that gets all of their money and power from controlling fonts.
Tune back in next week for our next edition of Font Club, where we will be discussing Comic Sans.
No!
Pants.
No!
The most readable font in the world.
The most used font. It's
the most
popular
read font in the world.
A font that was literally a joke, and it became a problem.
So, Looks like we will have a heated discussion.
Oh man. Okay. Next story. We're going to talk about YouTube. They have this awesome. They have their music service, and people like to listen to the YouTube music and watch the videos. And there's some people who like to watch their YouTube videos without any of the music service, and they get ads. And guess what? YouTube is now going to start introducing additional ads, even maybe multiple ads between videos, in order to frustrate you enough for you to pay for the subscription service. And give it.
All I know is this picture right here is giving me a headache. And I assume that's because the music that's associated with it would too. This is a guy from a guy who spends all of his free time playing music at 11. So.
No, man, don't mess with your ears, man. Don't do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Navy destroyed my ears long ago, which is nice because I can go to concerts and I don't get the ringing for days because I've had ringing for years.
When it says YouTube's music service, are they simply referring to Google Music, or are they referring to YouTube Red? What are they referring to? Because I use YouTube Red and I watch a ton of music
The
videos.
porn service?
YouTube.
So YouTube Red and YouTube Music are essentially the same service. You buy one, you get the other.
Okay.
So if you pay for YouTube Music, and I get YouTube Red for free, and yes, that means I get to watch all the porn I want on YouTube. No, but it means that all your YouTube videos have no advertisements either in the middle or at the ends. And so I'm guessing now, no, it's not perfectly clear. Is that they may be actually possibly thinking of launching another music service, and everybody's saying, "Don't do it, YouTube. You Google, you do this too much. Stop, bad, you Google, bad."
Yeah.
But it makes sense that it just means that they're just going to be saying, and you can make these commercials go away by subscribing to YouTube Red.
Right. Yeah, I subscribe to YouTube Red, and it's way worth it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all day at work, I'm either listening to podcasts or listening to music videos. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
All I know is it doesn't matter. All this time later, it's still a terrible name, YouTube Red.
YouTube Red District?
Because, that was one thing on that Ryan Hansen solves crimes on TV. They make that joke over and over and over. What network is this for? YouTube Red. The porn site? I refuse to be on your pornography show. And stuff like that. It's really funny. But,
All right. Moving on, we have an interesting story. I like this. This sounds interesting to me. Google has decided to purchase the company called Lytro. If anybody remembers Lytro. Lytro was a company that invented a special camera and lens setup that allowed them to take pictures, and after the picture was taken, they were able to focus to any point in that picture's aperture they wanted to. So you could take the picture once and refocus it and be able to get whatever you want of it. They had this very special camera in order to do that. They also ended up apparently moving over to doing a lot of VR stuff with their camera, which is kind of interesting. But I'm curious if this means we're going to see some cool movies that are made with this. If Google decides to, maybe license this out to other people, because we've seen some stuff with it, but we could see some more cool stuff with this. And also, could we start seeing this kind of camera on different devices like phones?
Maybe phones, but I think they're probably looking to do a second act of the Google Glass. That's what I think.
Interesting.
all I know is that picture was very, very familiar. Is that from Half-Life 2? It looks like
It could be.
because it looks like something that is going to kill you.
I only got partway through Half-Life 2, but I really wish I would have finished it. I need to get back there and play it
It was
again. So.
really good. Okay.
Oh, I know. Okay, I know. It's one of those games I wish I would have finished.
Mm.
Hey, moving on. YouTube is testing a new feature that you are able to watch a new picture-in-picture mode for YouTube on while you're on your computer. Basically, means you'll be able to trigger a floating window that will appear on your screen while you are doing other things. So, in other words, if you're one of those people who is able to multitask, not me, you will be able to watch a video while we're doing some work. Me, it'll be running the corner, and I will not be able to take my eyes off of it.
Let me just say, I had to switch back to show my eye-rolling disgust. I freaking hate those floating windows.
Sorry, what'd you say? I was watching this video.
Exactly. See, like on my phone, when a text comes in, it pops in over the top, and I actually love that because it's not moving. It's just something, and I can glance at it real quick and then brush it away. Video, no. That is like one of my biggest complaints about Skype is when I'm on this window, the video of you guys from over there shows up in the top corner. And
I know.
It drives me crazy. I don't
You
want
can close
that. I don't
it goes
want
away,
that. Stop giving
and
that
mouse
to
over
us.
something else, and it pops back up again. You can move it to another screen, and then it goes away, and it comes back to that same spot it was originally.
Yeah.
Stop it!
And I mean, there are websites where it starts auto playing a video, and then as you scroll down the website, the video scrolls down with you. And then I mark that as like a blacklisted site. I'm never going back there again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess if people want it, rock on, but I don't want it. Get off my lawn. I don't want it.
Yeah. The only thing I want in the background is maybe music. Yeah, a video. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if it's a video I want to watch and I have it floating down there like that, and I have tried that before, right? Then I end up not watching the video and just concentrate on whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah. I generally, because I have a multi-monitor setup, I have it kind of on one of my side monitors and just kind of small. And I like it that way because I can kind of peek over there. But I also use multiple desktops on the Mac, or multiple virtual desktops on the Mac. So it's not on the screen most of the time, and I wouldn't want it to be most of the time just because it would get in the way of my workspaces and stuff. So I don't see myself ever using a feature like this. If I actually want to be actively watching the video, I'm going to have that video up.
I just see that this we've been raising a generation of people who are completely capable of watching one thing while at the same time watching another thing on their phone, at the same time eating dinner, and while at the same time having a conversation with somebody in the room. And now we're going to have them also be watching at the same. I can't handle it. They can handle it. I don't understand how they can handle it. I guess it's a kind of the evolution of our race, and they are capable of doing this, and I'm not. I guess I'm the dinosaur here. I feel weird. It hurts my head.
This strikes me as every few years you get this return to picture-in-picture. Remember when picture-in-picture came out in the 80s, and it was like the greatest thing. You can watch two things on one screen. And it never really took off. And then they keep trying to bring it back. And then in Windows ME, they gave you can use your desktop background to play video while you're watching stuff, right?
Oh, Active Desktop. I remember Active Desktop.
It didn't work. Then ATI did the same thing with their tuner software. And I mean, it keeps coming back. No, I actively multitask all the time. I have a TV right there. It's always on while I'm doing stuff here. And then I'm also doing stuff here, right? But they're separate. I don't want all those things happening on one screen. Never am I working on one monitor when I've got video playing on the other monitor because they're the same platform and I don't like that.
Yeah, I think... Matt, what you say about people being good at multitasking is somewhat true. However, I would contest that as a general rule, they really aren't multitasking. They're state switching frequently but they're not getting much out of all of the different things that are happening. They're either getting very little out of everything, or they're getting a lot out of something and very little out of something else. Like when I'm working, I often will go for a half an hour and realize that I didn't hear a single thing in the podcast I was watching if I've been thinking. Now, sometimes what I'm doing is mundane enough and tedious enough that I can totally listen and totally work at the same time. But when I'm most of the time, the reason I listen to music a lot is because I realize that I'm not hearing anything in the podcast, even though I've got it running right there. And so I'm like, I actually want to hear what they're saying. I'll switch to music so that I can, because I'm doing some complex tasks right now.
It's well proven that people who are good at multitasking are actually horrible at it, and it's just some are just a little bit better at it than other people. That's been proven. But that being said, that maybe I am the old horrible at ever multitasking versus some people who are kind of okay at multitasking, and maybe people are getting better at it. Maybe, I don't know. All I'm saying is that I cannot do it.
And like Mike was saying, I'll have the TV on, but it's just noise, essentially. It's background noise, because if I catch something and go, oh, I need to actually pay attention to that, then this loses function, and I'm looking this way, so it's one or the other. But yeah, I like background. I like background noise. I don't need actually real stimulus from multiple things. That's just too much. Yep.
All right, moving on. We have a little short story here about the fact that it looks like the Roku channel, which is Roku's attempt to make a free channel and trying to break out of just being a hardware platform, is coming to your Samsung TVs this year. So they're really jumping the boat here, aren't they? Diversification. They're really thinking maybe we can do more.
Oh, that's what they stated that was their goal last year, that they wanted to after the IPO. They stated they wanted to expand beyond the hardware. So, rock on. I've been playing around with the newest version of the Roku store as part of beta. I think we're out of NDA now. But,
well, don't say anything else. You're good. Just stop.
But yeah, no, I'm not going to go into the details. But from the past iterations of it, it's a cool little thing. It's free. You watch some commercials, you get to watch some decent stuff, and it's the only reason I probably ever would have watched that Arnold Schwarzenegger border town sheriff movie.
I like that movie. That was actually
I like that one too.
It was okay. But the only reason I watched it was because it was one of the movies when I was testing it last summer. They said, okay, watch this movie and see if the playback, if there are any issues. And it's okay.
There were none.
Yeah, wasn't that the Last Stand?
Yeah, The Last Stand.
Isn't that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, rock on.
Yeah.
Go Roku.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say it. It'd be a spoiler, wouldn't it? I was going to say my favorite line my favorite line in that movie. Right?
I'll be back. Obviously.
No.
No. Oh, okay.
It was. You were shot with a BB gun.
All right. What
anyway.
seems like every other story today is something about YouTube. We have a story about YouTube. So it looks like they are now making it extremely easy for you to live stream from your computer if you're using. All you need is your browser. It looks like they're working on making it extremely easy for you to get a live stream up and running using YouTube's live streaming service with nothing more than your browser. And of course, it supports Chrome right now, but they're working on making it work with more of the browsers as they.
So why do you think it would support Chrome? Of all the browsers, why Chrome?
Know. I don't know. It might have to do something with WebRTC.
Oh.
The protocol that that's used to do that.
No, it's obviously this is a play for their Chromebooks, right? So it'll support that, right?
maybe they're trying to get into that lizard demographic because we all know that they're big Chrome users.
Yeah, obviously. And yeah, obviously, you know that the UFOs run Chrome, right?
Yeah.
You nailed it.
You know, it's
From the planet Chromium.
ooh, yeah.
In their defense, they have announced that other browsers are coming soon. They've also announced that they'll be providing support for the same type of functionality through multiple phones and the camera apps built into those phones. So they're working really hard. This kind of goes really closely with the Facebook conversation about streaming gaming early on. The easier that it is to get your content live streamed, live and online, the better it is for these companies. And the company that's going to ultimately win is going to be the company that makes it the easiest and still provides a good experience, right? Make it easy for the streamer and the video person and a good experience. Now, there is the whole network effect thing that gives Twitch and YouTube a huge advantage in this, and Facebook maybe not as much. To your point about the kind of network that they have, it's a totally different type of network and could be actually detrimental to them.
All right, we're going to move on to another story here about the fact that the Variety is reporting from a media trends survey. What is it? Deliet's 2018 media trends survey? I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyways, they're saying that about 55% of U.S. households are now streaming at least one video streaming service, up from 10% in 2009, which means that we are spending about $2 billion monthly for our video streaming services.
It's Deloitte.
Deloitte?
Deloitte.
Kind of like Beloit.
Like Deloitte.
In Wisconsin.
Nope, didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
It seems like that a little bit of money's been flowing in, which is kind of this is kind of what we've been talking about. It's not like this cord cutting thing. It's not gonna.
But
it's not gonna happen.
Streaming content means no revenue for anybody.
No.
It's just a fad.
And related is a story from BGR saying that no one wants satellite TV anymore.
Well, why? Why would they?
Well, basically, it seems like that all these new services that are coming out from either the cable companies doing their competition with the cord cutting guys, and now all these cord cutting options are available anywhere you can get internet. It seems like the traditional satellite TV is finally becoming, it's kind of finally declining. What is this thing saying?
Let me direct.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Clyde.
Real quick, let me direct you back to this picture. Are they holding a wake for DirecTV?
Well, it's not that inappropriate.
It looks, on one hand, it does look like it could be the DirecTV booth at CES. But it also looks like, some sort of, at a funeral home. Would have been set up by a funeral director.
Satellite TV has lost 1.7 million subscribers since last year. Play me a dirge.
Yeah, well, the thing about this story, right? It talks a little bit about, AT&T trying to make the transition of DirecTV to a streaming service, and all. And, well, I think that's the way that they would have to do it and everything. But still, there's a lot of ex-DirecTV customers who remember having to sign a contract, right? And it was like a 2-year contract you had to lock into those guys. And then, the first year they'd give you a good deal, and then the second year they would gouge you.
And then they destroy your roof, your brand new roof, by drilling holes in it.
And anybody who ever had that service remembers that. So why would they want to go back, even if it is just a month-to-month streaming service? Why would you want to go back to a service that carries the name that reminds you of those 2-year contracts?
Well, and that's why Dish was smart and named their service Sling.
Yes.
Yep.
That would have been the way to do it.
That was a very smart choice on their part. Also, they bought the company Sling, and it was a pretty good name, so, you know.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good name. Yeah. Now, well, actually, I used to be good friends, and I'm sure I would still be good friends if I was still nearby him, of a guy who was, his job was installer for DirecTV. I have no idea if he's feeling the pressure from the fact that it looks like a whole lot of these sales are going away. But there are still going to be people way out in the boonies who can't get decent internet, and they're going to still want their DirecTV and their Dish network. So I don't know. Maybe it won't all go away. It'll be a niche market.
Yeah. It's like any other format of anything, whether it's VHS or cassette tape, eventually it gets to the point where it doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, yeah, somebody could probably put it to use, but it's with all of the drawbacks. I don't see any way that it's useful. So, unless you're someone that like lives in the middle of the desert, isolated from everybody, where in that case, then yes, satellite TV may be your only option, and also satellite internet is your only option, and either way, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Other than that, like one scenario that is real, I don't see any reason why anybody would want it. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Well, that is the end of our news. I know it was crazy, but we had a lot of little news that we go through. Nothing really big. Lots of little juicy things, though. It was a good.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the only time we ever got to the letter M in our show.
Well, on that note. Alrighty. Rants, raves, what you guys got? What's going on?
Sorry, I am writing a. Yeah.
I'll double down. Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. It's by Robin Sloan, and it is an excellent book. A very good read. It's reasonably short. It's just a standard novel, maybe a couple hundred pages, maybe 300 pages. I don't know. But it is a really good book, and while we talk about streaming videos and stuff like that, I don't think it's been made into a movie, and it's really enjoyable and interesting, and involves technology and old style books and fonts and conspiracy theories and secret societies.
So
and
basically, it's this episode all wrapped up into one tidy little story.
It is this episode in book form.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I might have to pick that one up.
Yeah.
Check it out. I put a link in the show notes. So give it a check out.
Yeah, I wonder who they chose to portray me. I hope she's pretty.
Sounds good. I'll go. I've been busy with lots and lots of things at work that have been keeping me away from doing anything entertaining. But I am kind of getting very excited for Avengers, and also I'm really excited for this new Fantastic Beasts movie that's coming out. The new trailer came out for it, and it looks really good. So the Fantastic Beasts, the Crimes of Grindelwald, looks really good to me.
Whoa, I have not heard about this.
Uh-oh.
When is this movie coming out? November 16th, 2018.
It's a Harry Potter movie. It always comes out in November, right?
Yeah, it's true. My daughter will be super excited to hear that.
Watch the trailer is excellent, and watch it, enjoy.
Are there going to be stairways inside suitcases?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. That's the only thing I know about the Fantastic Beasts movie.
Okay. Good stuff. Nice.
And for me, well, I'm still watching on Netflix. I'm still watching The Punisher, the Marvel stories. I'm enjoying those. I'm trying to get through Punisher so I can get to the second season of Jessica Jones. Yeah, I enjoyed those. The Defenders too. I liked. I liked that one too, where it was all of them kind of coming together into one show. But to kind of tag team a little bit on Michael's pick there, I'm a subscriber of Audible. Listening to the audiobooks, I get to where, talking about multitasking and not having a whole lot of time and my crazy work schedule and all. On the plane, that's what I do. Or when I go to the gym, I'm listening to audiobooks is what I do more of nowadays, right? And you can see my bookshelf back there in the back. It used to have books in there. Now
it's full of audiobooks.
Yeah, now it's full of audiobooks. Yes, that's exactly right. So if you've never tried the service, I'd recommend it. It's not too much. I think it's like about $15 a month, and that gets you one free audiobook that you can download and keep forever. Right. So if you haven't tried
code TVS, maybe someday.
But and then I'm also looking forward to the Showtime show Billions. I think that starts up this weekend, I believe. Right.
I think you're right. And then Bosch is coming up soon too.
Yeah, Bosch is also coming up. That's another favorite of mine.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. You said you were kind of struggling to get through The Punisher. Would
a little bit.
Would you say that you find it particularly punishing?
Oh, man. Really?
Well, it was a little slow at first, right? Because they had to give you all the background story and all that kind of thing. But about midway through, it starts to pick up a little bit and gets a bit more interesting. After you get. So I'm finding it easier to get through the episodes now.
All right.
I got to say, I've enjoyed every single Marvel show that I've watched. I've thought they were all very good. However, they all seem to have some sort of pacing issues. There are points where you kind of have to slog through it in order to get to the payout of like the exciting, adventurous parts of the final episode.
No money shot.
Every single one of them, and that's crazy to me because they are, in my opinion, all genuinely good, well done shows. But there are serious pacing issues, and what's even more crazy is the fact that it's Netflix. They can do as many or as few episodes as they want. They can make them as long or as short as they want. Why would they let this happen so consistently? I don't know, but it's okay. It doesn't bother me. I end up slogging through them and enjoying them anyways. It's just.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know what the budget is on each one of those shows. How much are they actually paying for those shows? I don't know if they release those financials or not.
Netflix does not ever
tell you any of that.
Yeah, it'd be curious to me to just know, how much they had to pay out for each one of those. Right.
I've mentioned it before, but of all of those, the only one that I relatively enjoyed was the one that everybody universally hated in that, what was the Kung Fu guy?
Iron
Fist. Yeah. That was the only one that I was like, it's okay. All the other ones just annoy me.
Well, I'm glad it found something for you. Come on, that's good.
See, I actually really liked Iron Fist as well. It had the same problem. It had a part of the series that was very slow. And if you were able to sit through that slow part, it was relevant and it was all important, but the pacing was a little bit off in a couple of episodes, and you had to sit through 2 or 3 hours of stuff where it just didn't move as quickly as it could have and probably should have. And then you get to the end and you're like, yeah, this is a great show. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, the exception to that was was Daredevil. Daredevil, I don't think had that pacing issue.
I don't think the first season did. I kind of think the second season did.
I couldn't get through the first episode of the second season.
Yeah, that is true. The second season did have a little bit of in the earlier episodes there was a pacing issue, but after you got through, I want to say it was like the fourth or fifth episode, then it didn't have that pacing issue anymore.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, and I am going to go to another Netflix show, but a new one called Everything Sucks. Have you guys watched it yet?
Come on, it's not that bad. Come on.
I'm telling you, everything sucks.
No, it's not that bad. Trust me. It's been.
It is. It is.
It meant when I was a kid in the '90s, I know what it's like to when everything sucked. Okay.
Yeah. No. If you haven't checked it out, it popped up on I think Friday, and I ended
Is that on YouTube Red?
No, these are kids. They don't do porn.
Oh, gotcha.
No. Although there was a couple points in that series that were kind of a little uncomfortable from an adult standpoint because there may or may not have been in the girls' locker room, and then you find yourself going, "Wait, they got to be over 18, right? They can't do this if they're not over 18." And yeah, it was. No, check it out. If you haven't checked it out, I ended up burning through it really fast. It was cute. It was nostalgia, aimed right at us. It takes place in '96, so it would have been the school year after I graduated.
That's the year before
it started like I guess at the beginning of the school year '96, so that'd be like September.
And God.
Yeah, and I know Jimmy had already had been completed his first master's by that point.
I graduated high school in 1980.
Exactly. Yeah, he's old, but we won't hold that against him.
I actually have not seen this. I may have made it sound like
check
I have,
it out. I mean, it's hard to say.
This...
It's hard to say a lot about it without being spoilery.
Right. This looks right at like something that's exactly what I need to watch.
It's probably going to be coming up.
The
first couple episodes are very heavy on the product placement for nostalgia factor, and it went like there was someone had a can of cherry Coke, and it was that weird black and red scribble can that I kind of miss, and I went, yes. That was the can of cherry Coke that I was drinking when I was in boot camp.
Yeah. So did you graduate in '96 then?
Yeah, I graduated in '96.
You're graduating?
So yeah. 95, 96 school year. So yeah.
I graduated the same year. That's why I was like, wait, that's crazy.
I know. And but I mean the nostalgia's there. They did a good job with the characters. I could put a name on pretty much every single one of those characters as somebody I knew. And it did a really good job at some points of tugging at the heartstrings, and it's compelling. I recommend it, especially if you're in high school in the 90s. This is aimed right at you.
Netflix doesn't recommend it for me. It's only a 68% match to me. Probably doesn't have enough explosions and too much emotion.
Maybe. There are a couple explosions, but
how about Nazi sharks and whatever the third one was?
No sharks and Nazis.
Yeah.
Or Nazi sharks.
Yeah. And aliens. Aliens was
aliens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. Again, we will be back next Wednesday. Same VOD time, same VOD channel, 9 p.m. Central here on Twitch. Just a reminder that this weekend is the March movie party. The poll is currently up on Twitter. If you want to go out there and throw your 2 cents in at DC Movie Party. I think Troll is in the lead and has a good chance of winning. That was how did Del Noche word it? I think he said 80s Harry Potter. Troll. And that also, I think the chick from Seinfeld was in that too.
What's the movie?
Troll.
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 Okay. I don't know this.
Oh, go watch the trailer and you might go, oh, I saw that at a birthday party sleepover and didn't know what it was.
I think there was a play off the movie Leprechaun.
Kinda.
Okay.
But
And I've heard of Leprechaun at least.
Leprechaun was great. That's Jennifer Aniston was in Leprechaun.
Leprechaun 1 was apparently good, and then after that it went like...
the
bad,
Leprechaun,
good, bad,
in
downhill.
the hood one was, like, ridiculous.
Friday movie night worthy downhill.
Oh, yeah.
So,
No, absolutely. That franchise is going to get explored at some point. But, yeah, 9 p.m. Central this Saturday. That will be the 24th? Yeah, 24th. 9 p.m. Central. And follow us at DC Movie Party for information. And, guys, I think that's it.
We made it.
I think I'm out of gas.
We made it.
I can't hold off much longer, so I will check you all later. Thank you, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.